as I started to prepare for today's show, guys, I started listening to press conferences from the Cleveland Browns general manager, Andrew Berry. And Andrew Berry was asked about about the potential Cleveland Browns stadium renovation and whether they want a dome, whether they want outside, just generalized questions, right? Normally, when you talk to GMs and coaches, you get the politically correct answer. Whatever the owner wants, whatever the fans want, yada, yada, yada. Andrew Berry has come out and said that he wants a dome in Cleveland. He said he wants basically Myles Garrett to be able to run 100% free, not have to worry about the cold, not have to worry about the rain, wind, or snow. He wants a dome over the Cleveland Browns stadium. So my brain starts turning, my brain starts thinking, and I'm like, you know what? Do we want all fields to be in, quote, perfect conditions? Do we want all fields to be in pristine 65 degrees weather, no rain, no snow, no wind? Like, that's what makes football great, right? Is truly a home field advantage. Truly, in football, you get a home field advantage. In basketball, nah. Baskets are still 10-foot tall. The court's still 90 feet or whatever. Baseball, somewhat different size fields, whatever, you get it. A little bit of home field advantage. But in the NFL, you truly get home field advantage with the weather, with the wind, with the noise, etc., right? So as you guys, I see a Cleveland Browns fan in here. We see Chicago Bears fans, right? Would you guys want a stadium that is a dome? Me personally, as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, they are proposing a dome stadium out there in Kansas, and actually Overland Park. Hell no! I don't want no dome stadium. I like that outdoor feel. I want the home field advantage. I want the negative 25 degree weather. I want the snow. I want the wind. That's what makes football, baby. That is what makes football. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Would you want your team, if you're an outdoor stadium, a cold weather stadium, Jets, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, who else is outside? Green Bay? Would you guys want a dome on your field? Let me know. But those are my thoughts. Alrighty, guys. Alrighty. It is time to talk some NFL talk. We have gone a little bit of this. We've gone a little bit of that. We've dived into what could potentially be the saving grace of the Cleveland Browns stadium. But James Frank says, nah. I like Lake Erie snow shoe grits. Don't move them to Broke Park. I think you're talking about so Cleveland is next to Lake Erie. I was also thinking Buffalo next to Lake Erie, but that's not Lake Erie. That's Lake Ontario, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, I get it. Don't. Casey says no. I like watching weather games. Bring the snow. Bring the rain. Bring the negative 25 degree weather. We like it, baby. We like it. But yeah, it is what it is. But there's some news, guys, coming out of Pittsburgh. There's some news coming out of Pittsburgh that Mr. Russell Wilson is finally back at practice. As you guys know, we talked about it, late last week, right? Russell Wilson, first practice of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He woke up with some calf soreness. Strained calf, as they officially announced it today, but he is officially back at practice taking reps. However, he is taking reps with the second string team. So we'll be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers in depth with some people that I know about Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're going to talk about it. But right now, Russell Wilson is taking second string reps with that sore calf. So as Russell Wilson was slated to be the first string quarterback, Justin Fields has now kind of been inserted into that role. Now, I do like some Pittsburgh Steelers this season. I want to emphasize it on that. I am in love with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I love their defense. I love their offense. I love their offensive line. All they basically need is a quarterback that doesn't suck. As long as the Steelers quarterback play does not suck, they're going to win 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. They have a ceiling of 15 and a floor of 10 with decent quarterback play. I think they're going to be a really, really good team. But let me ask you guys this question. Is Russell Wilson starting or not make or break for the Pittsburgh Steelers season? Many people think that Justin Fields just needs to sit a year out, collect his thoughts, and then go on to his next team, right? Serve out his 5th year in Pittsburgh and be the guy somewhere else. Guys, I think, as much as I like Russ, Casey said it best. Russ is over the hill. Russ is an older guy. He's had his glory days, right? He top 10 quarterback in Seattle. Denver definitely hurt his legacy for the long haul. But Justin Fields, guys, in Pittsburgh, that seems like a very dangerous combination. That seems like a very dangerous combination. My man, BC Combs, sat here on Man Hour last season when the Chicago Bears were kind of like a dumpster fire, right? Of course, they got hot toward the end of the season, but they're like 1-7 or 2-6 or something like that. Like, he's like, trade Justin Fields and get what you can out of him. But then he also said in the same breath that Justin Fields on any other team is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And watching camp, watching film, prepping for the Pittsburgh Steelers again on Thursday, guys, Justin Fields is the real deal. Justin Fields is the real deal. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers would be even better if Justin Fields does start all 17 games for them this season. Keep this in the back of your head. Russell Wilson is still being paid by the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson is being paid by the Denver Broncos to play on a different team. I think the Steelers only paid him like $1 million, the veteran minimum. They have no stock really in either quarterback. They don't care who starts, as long as they win games. And I think Justin Fields can do that. John thinks the Steelers will go 9-8 this season. 9-8 this season. And then he also says in the same breath that Wilson's starting change halfway through after 3 or 4 straight losses. So John thinks the Steelers will go 9-8, but he also says that 4 of those 8 losses will come with Russell Wilson as starting quarterback. So basically, John's saying once Justin Fields gets in there, if he were to have played all 17 games, they're a 12, 13 win team because Justin Fields is only going to lose 4 games this season. So start the man, week 1. Start him. Casey says he will start slow. His level of play is still the same as the Broncos gained 3 Fields by starting. See, and you guys are all I think we're all kind of thinking of the same thing here, right? We are all thinking the same thing. Justin Fields will take over Russell Wilson at some point during the season. If we know this, if we understand this, why not start Justin Fields week 1? Why not? Nothing to lose. Pittsburgh Steelers aren't really picked to do a whole lot. I have them going to the playoffs. I think they're going to win a couple playoff games. I think they could potentially go to the AFC Championship game with Justin Fields. Why not let it ride out? Let it ride out. James Frank, thank you for joining us today. James, he says Wilson will start. Fields will be thrown in as starter before they play Cleveland. Everybody's saying the same thing. Russell Wilson, 3, 4, 5, 6 starts tops. Insert Justin Fields. Insert in week 1. Insert in week 1. Don't let Combs here say that facts. If Combs ever heard that he is right, he will ride that till the day he dies. Let's just be honest. I love him. Love him like a brother, fuck him like a sister, but damn it, Combs, when he's right, he will never let you die. Never let that die. Arthur Brown is in the chat today. What's up, Arthur Brown? He says, what up, man, our nation? What's up, Arthur Brown? Be safe out there on the streets, man. We know it's hard out there for a pimp. We got my Ryan in the chat. He's a rising top top fan. He says, let go. Let's go, Ryan. Hope you're having a grand old day, man. And Casey says Wilson will begin pad too much not to start in game owner. Okay. Casey's saying that Russell Wilson is getting paid too much to be game one starter. Not to be game one starter, I should say. Russell Wilson is getting paid a lot of money this season. You are correct. I think he's getting paid like $40 million, right? This season and next season. By the Denver Broncos. The Pittsburgh Steelers are only paying him $1 million. The league veteran minimum. Russell Wilson, that's what he's getting paid. That is what he's getting paid. So therefore, being paid too much or not, he's not getting paid by the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is why Pittsburgh Steelers signed the guy. They don't like him? See you later, alligator. We'll trade you to somebody else. Hell, we'll cut your ass. We don't care. It's $1 million. That's pocket change, baby. Pocket change. He says, LMO. So the Broncos are paying Wilson to suck in Pittsburgh. Exactly. Exactly. We got DJ V-Bucks in the chat. What's up? DJ says, what do you think about Jordan Love's deal? Let's talk about Jordan Love's deal. DJ V-Bucks. Thank you for joining us, man. I think Jordan Love got paid too early. I think Jordan Love Jordan Love got paid. Jordan Love got his money. He did ball out last season from week 5 till playoff game, ultimately beat down the Dallas Cowboys, potentially shit the bed versus the 49ers. Call it what you want to call it. But with that being said, Jordan Love only has 1 year starting experience. With that being said, Jordan Love really only played good, top-level, top 10 football for 12 games last season. Now, I understand he only had 1 year left on his contract. This 2024 NFL season was the opt-in, opt-out year, right? And so he wasn't going to practice because he wanted to get paid. He wasn't going to do this because he wanted to get paid. On Jordan Love's side of things, I get it. I understand it, right? But on the Green Bay Packers side of things, I don't understand it. I think they paid the man way too early, as you do get paid off of what you've done, right? And then into potential. Potentially, Jordan Love can have a Hall of Fame career. Potentially, Jordan Love can be the next great quarterback to come out of Green Bay. Potentially, Jordan Love can win back-to-back MVPs like Aaron Rodgers did. But 1 year starting, 1 playoff win, 1 playoff loss. I would have liked to see more out of Jordan Love before giving him the richest NFL contract in history, right? But at the same time, I see it. I see it as well, right? The Green Bay Packers are kind of handcuffed by the situation. If you pay him now and he just a mediocre quarterback at best, damn, we're stuck with him for 4 or 5 years. Shit. But if he balls out, MVP, takes you to an NFC championship game, goes to the Super Bowl, right? And you hadn't paid him yet. Then Tua gets his money, right? Then Dak Prescott gets his money. Then Brock Purdy gets his money. Who is the next quarterback that's probably due for a contract? Probably Kyler Murray probably gets his money, right? Now you're 5-6 contracts past of what you could have paid him. And now instead of, $53.5 million a season, he's getting $60 million. He's getting $70 million a season. As I do think it's too early, I also can't fault the Packers for doing what they did. You can't fault them from doing what they did. They think they nailed their draft. Hell, history shows they have, right? Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Bart Starr, right? History shows that they nailed the draft and quarterbacks. So if you have faith in your guy, I like it. I like it. What do you guys think? John says way too early. Way too early. He also said from week 11 on he balled out. So not even the 12 games. John's saying about 7, 8 games. Probably about right. But at the same time, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I said this exactly about the Green Bay Packers. First 5, 6 weeks of the season, they're going to pretty much suck. Young receiver core, brand new quarterback. I mean, he's been in the system, but brand new starting quarterback. Nathaniel Hackett, or not Nathaniel Hackett. Packers head coach, name slipping my mind right now. Finally gets to put his hands on the molding of that offense, right? Finally gets his chance to really shape and mold what he thinks he could be. Growing pains, bada bing, bada boom. Everything came together. Everything balled out, and it ended up being all right. Casey says Green Bay was dumb to pay Love. Dumb. Arthur Brown says, Buck, I agree. He did get paid too early. They should have waited after this season. Double-edged sword, right? Double-edged sword. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's just, it is what it is. John thinks he's should have let him play out his contract and paid the man if he shows the same level of play. Like I said, double-edged sword. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. This is what the problem is with the NFL quarterback realm, right? No matter if you're average, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, potentially Jordan Love, whoever's next up in contract talks is going to be the next highest paid quarterback, right? Because they don't want you to say no, right? They invested a draft pick on you. They invested 5, 6 years on you, right? In Dallas Cowboys talk here, 9 years. Vested 9 years on you. Why do I want to lowball you and only offer you $45 million? You're like, nah, I'm good. And then the next team like the Las Vegas Raiders are going to pay you $80 million a season. Like, I get it, but James says, as a Browns fan, I wish I would have had the Packers worried about QB. Favre, Rodgers, and Love. What is that even like? I think Love will have at least 2 rings before he retires. James, I believe at one particular time, a buddy of mine posted a t-shirt on Facebook with the list of the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks since like 2016 or something like that. The font was like 10-point font and it had like 40 names on it. Like I definitely understand and feel your pain, and like it sucks. It sucks. Not only too early, says Arthur Brown, but made him the highest paid quarterback. What the hell? Next paid quarterback's always going to be the highest paid quarterback. Look at it. Started with Patrick Mahomes, then Joe Burrow, then Josh Allen, then Lamar Jackson, right? It's a snowball. Even if you're average, you're going to get paid $50, $60 million. And Casey says, slow it down. Slow it down, baby. The Bears have already claimed the next 5 Super Bowls before their overrated quarterback even takes a snap. And speaking of their overrated quarterback, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams talked to reporters yesterday and basically said that I want to play as many snaps as I can in preseason. I want to play to work on my blitz coverages, to work on my checks, to work on a little bit of this and a little bit of that. He said, I want to get in there and I want to play. Caleb Williams is saying all the right things for Bear fans to get hype about him, for media to get hype about him, for everybody to get hype around the Chicago Bears. But the Chicago Bears guys have 4 preseason games this season. They play the Hall of Fame game in just 2 days, and then they still have 3 more preseason games. So Caleb Williams, I'm going to look at you face to face. First of all, I loved the way you answered your question in your press conference. If you guys haven't watched him answer this question, I recommend you going to youtube.com and looking up Caleb Williams' interview from, I believe it was July 29th. Not only does he look the reporter in the eyes, connects with him, he gives a well-rounded, lengthy answer. He did not give the politically correct answer like, oh, whatever the coach decides, whatever. He's like, no, I want to fucking play. He didn't say fucking, but I would say that. He said, I want to play. I want to work on this, and this, and this, and this. I want to play. The more I play now, the better I'll be prepared for week 1. So, guys, I know it's hard to find Bears fans out there. It's hard to find Chicago Bears fans out there. But if Caleb Williams is your quarterback right now, if Caleb Williams is your guy moving forward, do you want him playing preseason? Do you want him taking 3/4 of the snaps in a preseason game? Me personally, absolutely not. I hate preseason games. I hate 7-on-7s. I hate padded scrimmages. Get me to the game. As a high school coach right now, my team, the previous administration signed us up for a bunch of 7-on-7 events throughout the summer. Cool, whatever, effing stupid. So we went to Evansville and played some 7-on-7. We went to Clarksville. We went to Indianapolis. We went to Nashville, right? We're playing all these 7-on-7 events, and I'm not going to go take my kids out there and be not prepared. But at the same time, when I'm preparing for a 7-on-7, it's taken away from my team aspect, and these kids are always thinking 7-on-7, 7-on-7. Oh, yeah. Fuck 7-on-7. I got 5 kids injured, 3 broken arms, 2 concussions, and a dislocated kneecap from playing 7-on-7. All pretend games. This is unpadded, unsanctioned, playing flag football 7-on-7 for high school kids. Now, let's translate this into NFL. This is a padded game. This is a sanctioned game. This is people legitimately fighting for their livelihoods, right? If Caleb Williams is out there versus a 4-string linebacker fighting to be on the team, he wants to make film. He wants to make a highlight. He wants to take your fucking head off. Chicago Bears fans, Caleb Williams is your future. Next 4 years minimum, he is your future. You don't want to see him a vegetable in preseason. You don't want to see a torn ACL in preseason. You don't want to blow out Achilles in practice. You don't want to see it. So Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles, the rest of the Chicago Bears organization better protect him from himself. Maybe Caleb Williams just saying this just to please the masses. Maybe he's saying, hey, I want to do this, this, and this, and this, but really, I just like my money, baby. But let me know, guys. Would you want your boy Caleb Williams to start more than 2 preseason games this season? Me personally, absolutely not. Absolutely not. James Chambers in the chat. What's up, James? He said there will be an 18-game season with the mid-season league-wide bye week. No preseason games within the 5 years. I'd say probably the next two years, James. In the next 2 years, we're going to see 18 games. I don't think we'll see a league-wide bye week, but we'll see 2 bye weeks. We'll see 2 bye weeks for sure. John says, nah. I'd sit him too. Why risk injury, Caleb? Why risk injury? Granted, I know Caleb Williams got his money in college, right? Caleb Williams was really the first class of NIL deal people coming out of college going into the pros, right? If you think about this, Caleb Williams was probably making more money in college than he is with the Chicago Bears. So, like, I get it to an extent. But, yeah. 1 series in the first game. First real preseason game. This week 0 Hall of Fame crap? Nah. Taysom Bagent, You're out there, man. You're out there. James says, you're right. You're right. I wouldn't let him play either. Wouldn't let him play either. Speaking of playing, John Elway was talking about his time as a general manager or acting general manager, or whatever his exactly role was with the Denver Broncos. And if you guys remember right, Denver Broncos had a top pick in the draft the year that Josh Allen was drafted by the Buffalo Bills ultimately. So John Elway said in a podcast that he regrets not drafting Josh Allen in that draft. I believe that particular year, who did they draft? Oh, man. Why is the name still on my mind now? I should have read it down. But regardless, they passed on him. Guys, as a past GM, potentially looking for a new GM job, administrative role, something, would you want to come out and admit that you made a mistake? Now, me as a man, I'm never going to admit that I'm wrong, right? I could be bold-faced wrong, 100% wrong, right? I could leave the refrigerator open with the milk jug half empty. I could be the only one at the house. And when I come back, I'm like, who left the refrigerator open? It wasn't me. You are going to deny it till the day you die. So, John Elway, why are you coming out and saying this? Why? But I got to thinking. I posted it earlier on Facebook, facebook.com/manhour. And I said, if Josh Allen were to go to the Denver Broncos, how would it have shaped the Denver Broncos' future moving forward? I said, personally, I didn't say a Super Bowl team. I didn't say a playoff team. I said they would be a solid 9-win team year in and year out. I think Josh Allen does that much for a team. As the Broncos are currently constructed, you put Josh Allen on there, they could potentially be second place in the AFC West. I don't think they compete for the crown. I think the Chiefs are just that much further ahead than them, even with Josh Allen. But they could be battling for a 7th seed, 6th seed year after year after year. I think Josh Allen is that good of a player. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Arthur Brown says he has to feel his rookie coach, lineman, protect him. Oh, as far as Caleb Williams. You're right. James Frank says Broncos would have ruined Allen's career. I'm glad he ended up in Buffalo. I mean, if you look at his time in Buffalo, yes, he has put up some great yardage. Yes, they have, 12, 13 wins year after year after year. But what has he really done in Buffalo? One playoff win, right? Is it one or two playoff wins? Definitely hasn't been really a Super Bowl contender or AFC Championship contender year after year after year. On paper, they look really good. In Madden, they're hella good. But I don't know if his career would have been any different going from Denver or Buffalo. Probably about mirror images. We talked about system quarterbacks and how I think Patrick Mahomes is a system quarterback. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, saying he's a system quarterback. I think Josh Allen is a quarterback on any other team. He's probably the exact same guy. Aaron Rodgers, exact same guy on any other team, right? Lamar Jackson, system quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, system quarterback. Josh Allen, I think he's pretty good. James says, Allen wasn't near the top of anyone's boards. Even Buffalo booed when they took Allen instead of Rosen. Exactly. Was it Josh Rosen? I still can't believe he got the short end of the stick in Arizona and Miami and Buffalo. And John said it best right here. I agree with you, John. He would have been the same as a Bronco. Exactly. But guys, it is time to talk a little bit about the Cleveland Browns. It is time to talk about potentially one of the top teams in the AFC North. It is time to talk about a team that made it to the playoffs last season after going through 4 quarterbacks. But before we got to go to the future, we got to think about the past. And think about the past, that is what we're going to do. Guys, the Cleveland Browns saw a lot of ups and downs in 2023. Ups, Deshaun Watson finally played a couple games. Deshaun Watson finally started to look like himself. Hell, first 3 weeks of the season, Deshaun Watson was looking like potentially 2019 Deshaun Watson. Insert Tennessee game, hurts his shoulder, out for the rest of the season, pretty much, right? Yeah, I know he played a couple more games, tried to come back, just wasn't quite himself. Insert DTR, Joe Flacco, Driscoll. Guys, the Cleveland Browns went through 4 quarterbacks last season, ended up going 11-6 with a playoff loss to the Houston Texans in the wild card. Also, in the meantime, Nick Chubb tears his ACL. Newsom tears his hamstring. Ward has an injured knee, right? There's a lot of injuries that piled up in 2023. So to start off today's show, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. We have to talk about Deshaun Watson. When I was preparing for today's show, I was watching Browns training camp like I did on Sunday with the pigskin punters. We were looking for the Baltimore Ravens, right? We get into a rabbit hole, yada, yada, yada. This was Monday edition of Browns training camp. There was a video of Deshaun Watson throwing the ball into the net, right? Kind of like a warm-up pass, kind of a rollout, boom, into the net. Deshaun Watson threw one pass during this practice. Deshaun Watson skipped the 20-yard pass into a net about the 5-yard line. After that, Deshaun Watson goes out of practice. He's like, shit, my arm hurts, whatever, like his shoulder hurts. Gone, out of practice for the rest of the day. So, guys, with that being said, Deshaun Watson's shoulder, I believe, is injured yet again. Deshaun Watson is already injured and hasn't even started week 1 yet. So when we talk about the Cleveland Browns today, I based off everything off of Deshaun Watson being 100% all season long. I based Deshaun Watson not being 2019 Deshaun Watson, but a Deshaun Watson that I feel like he could definitely beat. But first padded practice of the season, one pass, bada bing, bada boom, he's already injured yet again. Guys, at what point do the Cleveland Browns have to move on from Deshaun Watson? At what point do you just chalk it up, be like, damn, we tried, we wasted a lot of money? The window for the Cleveland Browns to win a lot of games, Super Bowl, AFC Championship, is closing rapidly. You got Amari Cooper for another year. You got Nick Chubb getting a little long in the tooth. The defense getting a little long in the tooth, right? The average age for the Cleveland Browns right now is 30 years old. That's relatively pretty old in the NFL, considering last year the Green Bay Packers had the youngest team. The average age was 23. So at what point do the Cleveland Browns just move on from Deshaun Watson? At what point be like, you know what, man? We tried. We gave you a lot of guaranteed money. Was it $245 million guaranteed money? We tried, but it's time to move on. It is time to move on. And John says that now would be the time. If Deshaun Watson is truly injured yet again, it is time to move on. It is now. You have a quarterback in Dorian Thompson-Robertson, DTR, that Aaron Rodgers freaking loves, right? We saw that last season when the Jets and the Browns played in the Hall of Fame game, right? Aaron Rodgers loves him some DTR. There's a reason. DTR is a pretty good quarterback. Pretty good. They also have a backup quarterback in Jameis Winston. Yeah, I know, 30 interceptions, but he has LASIK surgery since then. But Cleveland Browns fans, general staff, whatever, if Deshaun Watson is not 100% come week 1, I think you have to find him on the bench. I think you have to find him on the bench and find yourself a new starting quarterback at this particular time. James says, I think one, Watson mindset, he's only there because he has to be. I mean, Deshaun Watson did request a trade from Houston. I don't remember if he had a no trade clause or not, but I'm sure he could have said no. I don't know. I feel like any team in general you kind of want to be on because you're getting paid a lot of money to play a game that you love. Amari Cooper has come out and said that I want to retire a Cleveland Brown. I mean, something's brewing in Cleveland, and just Deshaun Watson needs to get on or get out, right? John says they will make a trade for Trevor Lawrence and find out he's bummy. Whoa. Slow it down, baby. Down it down. Arthur Brown says the Browns are pretty much stuck with Watson. Why? Why are they stuck with Watson? Because if you look forward into next year's salary cap, they're $45 million over the salary cap. Deshaun Watson is only a $25 million salary cap hit on that. So if you cut him or release him, you are not dead cap hit money because it's guaranteed money. He already got his guaranteed money. Now he's just playing off of incentive pay. I don't think the Browns are stuck with him. I don't think so. And James Frank says, I don't think so. I think they generally wants him. I mean, of course they want Deshaun Watson. They want the potential of Deshaun Watson. They want the potential of be like, you know what? He is not terrible. He just injured all the freaking time. Speaking of injured, Nick Chubb. We talked a little bit about Nick Chubb. We said how he tore his ACL, week 3, week 2 last season, but this is his second torn ACL in his career. And as a running back that's 30 years old or plus, injuries start to add up, start to slow you down. Now, Nick Chubb is a very, very good running back. Nick Chubb is a very, very strong running back. Well, we saw him squat 700 pounds, right? The bar was damn near ready to snap on him. But if Nick Chubb, guys, does not come back this season at 100%, the Cleveland Browns are in for a long, long season. Long season. Reports have come out that Nick Chubb will not be participating in training camp for at least another week or two. Definitely will not be in week 1 game or week 2 preseason game. Those are reports that I've heard straight from Andrew Berry, the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. Hell, even at training camp on Monday and over the weekend, he did 0 drills. You saw him standing on the sideline, and that's it. Now, he did run a little bit after practice, a couple sprints, but it wasn't no 100% sprints. It was about 70%, right? I mean, he was still moving, still pretty quick, still pretty big, but second ACL injury on an aging running back in a run-heavy offense, I would be a little bit worried. Speaking of being worried, Greg Newsome II, also recovering from off-season surgery, tore his hamstring, had surgery on it, is being repaired or is repaired. He has been out in practice. He has been looking pretty good from the film that I have seen. However, I think it was Ant that said it yesterday. Ravens fan through and through. He said the Cleveland Browns have a better defense or better secondary than the Baltimore Ravens. And Greg Newsome being 100% key is the key to that. You have Ward that had his knee scoped, right, this offseason. Greg Newsome with the hamstring injury, ended up having surgery on it. Nick Chubb with the second ACL surgery tear, and Deshaun Watson going out with another sore shoulder. Guys, the Cleveland Browns have a lot of potential. They have a lot of potential, but injuries are going to be a key part to their success or demise all season long. All season long, that is going to be their boom or boom, right? My hand was raising for people that listen on podcast forum. One-legged Chubb, says John. We're talking about an actual leg, guys, not the leg, but the leg. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean, right? And John says, what's the backup name? Not Winston Dorian. He's a nice quarterback, just needs more time on the field. Yeah, DTR. Dorian Thompson Robertson is his name, DTR. He currently is a third-string quarterback. He played a couple games last season, kind of had sparks, right? Looked really good in the preseason game versus the Jets last season. I was like, that's the guy, right? That's the backup, but he never really got his feet under him in the regular season. Never got his feet under him. James Frank says Chubb will be comeback player of the year. The man is already squatting 500 pounds. I don't want Chubb back on the field until week 8 or week 9. You know, James, as 500 pounds is a lot of weight. I think my max squat in college was like 450, 460. I never touched 500 once, right? But the man's max is about 750, 800 pounds. So technically, he's only doing about 60% of his max weight. So technically, he's only about 60% back. So adds 500 is very, very impressive. Fresh off of a torn ACL, second one. I don't remember if it's the same knee or not. I just know it was a second torn ACL. But don't forget about Tyler Huntley. He's also on the team, and he's not too bad. I actually said at one point that I thought Tyler Huntley was going to take Lamar Jackson's spot in Baltimore. I thought Tyler Huntley was a better fit for the Baltimore Ravens that particular year. It was the year that Lamar Jackson went down for like 8 games. I was like, Tyler Huntley, he's better for this offense. Unfortunately, I don't think Tyler Huntley makes that team. Unfortunately, I think Tyler Huntley is a practice squad player and is going to be picked up by somebody that has a quarterback injury coming up in training camp or first couple weeks of the season. So, but speaking of the season, it is time to go over each and every game of the Cleveland Browns season. But Casey asks, Ravens have Henry. Do they still need Lamar still? Yes. So, let me ask this question. When we look at the Baltimore Ravens, Casey, you sat there and we watched minicamp together on Sunday as a pigskin pundit. You got to see that. I finally found footage of some 11-on-11 film versus the Baltimore Ravens inter-squad scrimmage, right? Secondary looked amazing. Offense looked subpar at best without Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a game-changing quarterback. As much as I shit on Lamar, as much as I think he's overrated, overhyped, we all have seen Lamar physically take over games. I can't remember what game it was, but he breaks a 50, 60-yard run, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? And then he hits his gear, like he hits his mode, and he just boom, 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 boom. Lamar Jackson is a very, very good athlete, very, very good quarterback. I think he's overhyped and people put him up on his pedestal still, but we still got to give him his flowers. Lamar Jackson is probably the best quarterback in the AFC North. When you look at the AFC North, Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the AFC North. Better than Joe Burrow, better than Deshaun Watson, better than Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. Lamar Jackson is him. I hate to say it, but Lamar Jackson is him. He's perfect for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, if he were to go a team like the Miami Dolphins, probably wouldn't have much success, right? If he went to a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, probably wouldn't have much success. Harbaugh and Monken and whoever else makes those offensive calls have really shaped the offense, shaped the team around Lamar Jackson's athletic ability. It is what it is. And then James says, no, they don't need Lamar. He's a game-changing running back. Slow it down, baby. Lamar is crazy as much as I hate it when we play him. That man is crazy good. He is really good. And I shit on him a lot because I think the fans put him up on this pedestal, and he kind of put himself up on this pedestal, right? He's like, I want to win a Super Bowl in 3 years or 4 years or whatever. Didn't even win a fucking playoff game. Like I get it. And John says Lamar is that guy, not overrated takes, overrated all the games. Not for sure what you're trying to say there. Casey all says we need a new blood quarterback. These ones just want money and they're overhyped. Burrow is glass. Love has only played one season. Trevor Lawrence hasn't done anything. So what you're saying is you need more quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, baby. Week number 1. Cleveland Browns take on the Dallas Cowboys. This is Tom Brady's first game announcing. This has been the bigger hype than the game. Is Tom Brady's first game. But this is going to be a really, really good NFL game, guys. You got Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys coming to Cleveland to take on potentially Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. I have this game circled because I want to see if Amari Cooper is still him. Amari Cooper is getting a little long in the tooth and wants to retire a Cleveland Brown last year of his contract. How is Amari Cooper going to ball out in this game, especially versus his old team? Nick Chubb, are you going to play? Deshaun Watson, are you going to play? I'm not so much worried about the offensive side, but the defensive side. Greg Newsome, are you going to be ready to play? Ward, how is that knee feeling? This is a big game for the Cleveland Browns guys to really start out the season hot and get on a high note, knock off the mighty Dallas Cowboys, and that's exactly what to do. Week 1, I think the Browns win in a close one, 21-17, a close 20-point game plus. Browns win this week 1 game. What do you guys think? We're going to break down all 17 games. All 17 games. I think Nick Chubb, we get a healthy dose of Nick Chubb just to prove that he's ready. Week number 2. Speaking of overpaid quarterbacks and overrated states, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida, and Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars welcome the Cleveland Browns into town. Jacksonville Jaguars is a team that I've kind of been hating on all offseason, right? A team that I think is way overrated. A team that I don't think is really much of anything. Now, somebody in the comments of a post that try to say, oh, they got better with Gabe Davis and Eric Armstead and whatever, yada. The Jacksonville Jaguars did a lateral move. Even if Eric Armstead is a defensive player of the year and Josh Hines Allen is a co-defensive player of the year, even if Trevor Lawrence throws for 600 yards in this game, it's going to be too much Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are a really, really good team. It showed. Even when they're on the 4th quarterback last season, the defense carried them and the offense was just good enough. This year, the offense is going to be a little bit better. The defense is going to be a little bit better, and they start 2-0. They start 2-0 this season with wins over the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Week number 3, back at home, taking on the Giants. Do we need to even talk about this? It is a dub. Speaking of which, watch the final episode of Hard Knocks with the New York Giants tonight. It's draft night. Watch that. Week number 4. The old trap game. The old trap game, right? Amari Cooper versus his former old team. Former old team. You guys forget that Amari Cooper was a Las Vegas Raider before he went to the Dallas Cowboys. Cleveland Browns are overlooking the Las Vegas Raiders in this game. They've had a easier stretch, right? Jaguars, Giants, and now the Raiders. But they lose to Vegas. For some reason, I think the Vegas Raiders step up in this game. Antonio Pierce gets one of his 3 wins this season versus the Cleveland Browns. Raiders are riding high, pumping the chest. You see John and Jim saying there, oh, look at the Raiders, AOC. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. John thinks they beat the Raiders. And then James Frank says we always play crap versus the Raiders. That is true. That's actually why I have you losing this game. But week number 5, back on the road versus a sneaky good Commanders team. This is the particular part of the season where I am really, really worried about the Cleveland Browns. Started off 3-0, a tough loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, and then playing a Commanders team that you should beat. Let's just be honest. Better defense, better offense, probably better coached. My wife keeps calling me still. I'll call you back in a second, honey. I love you. But the truth of the matter is the Cleveland Browns battle in this Washington Commanders game. It's a game we don't want to watch, 10-9, 10-7. It's an ugly, ugly game, but the Browns come up on top, making them 4-1 on the season. Week number 6 at Philly. Third straight road game. Want to emphasize this. Third straight road game. As the NFL doesn't ever let you play 4 games on the road, there are times twice this season that the Cleveland Browns play 3 road games in a row. They play Philadelphia. Eagles are a team that is, high ceiling, low floor, good or bad. No middle point, good or bad. But I think they lose to Philly. I think they go into Philly. I think they kind of just shit the bed. They kind of just shit the bed, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, what is going on? We have lost 2 of our last 3. Now we start a divisional stretch. Now we start a stretch versus Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals and the rest of the AFC North. Man, we are 3 of their last 2. We've lost 2 of our last 3, as I should say. Things are not looking good, but they bounce back. They bounce back in week 7. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to have a down year, and I think the Browns kind of get back on track, right? There is going to be a trend this season that I don't think the Browns ever play A+ game. I don't think the Browns will ever come out this season in the year 2024 and be like, damn, they looked really, really good. Now, the defense might be dominant one game, and the offense might be unstoppable one game, but they're never going to put it together, and that's going to be the ultimate downfall for the Cleveland Browns this season. And week 8 at home versus the Baltimore Ravens, this is a game that they have to play A+. This is a game that the defense has to be locked down. This is a game that they have to just be spot on, and they're not. Baltimore Ravens come into town, they kind of embarrass them a little bit. The offense looks a little bit of loss, right? We talked about how deep the Ravens defense is, the secondary in general, and it shows out in this game. Week number 8, it shows out. And we're just kind of like, damn, what? Week number 9. Where's my schedule? Week number 9. Chargers come into town. Getting close against time, guys. Little man's getting off the bus here shortly. They beat the Chargers. Chargers are just not a very good team, unfortunately. They beat the Chargers. Week 10, we got a bye week. Much needed bye week, right? Kind of a mid-season perfect week 9, 10, 11, perfect bye weeks. We get to see where Nick Chubb is at. We get to see where Deshaun Watson's at. We get to see where Newsom's at, right? How are those injuries that we repaired in the offseason, how are they suiting up, right? I think Deshaun Watson is going to play all 17 games. Want to put an emphasis on that. But week 10, much needed bye week. Week 11, fresh off the bye week, but they travel to the Big Easy to take on the Saints. The Saints are a team, guys, that I'm kind of high on. I don't know why. I legit don't know why I'm so high on the Saints, but I'm really high on the Saints. The Saints are probably a 13-14 win team this season. They could potentially be the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. But the Cleveland Browns win this game. I like it. Thursday game. Week 12, Pittsburgh Steelers coming to town. Give me the home team. Thursday night game, give me a home team. I don't care if it's division rival. I don't care if it's cross country. Give me the home team. Always on Thursday night game. Browns win this game. Week 13, Monday Night Football. Why are the Cleveland Browns and Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football? Only God knows why, but upset in the making. The Denver Broncos are a bad team. Let's just be honest. There's the Raiders and then the Broncos. They're both pretty low tier in the AFC West. But we talked about home field advantage in Mike Thoughts. We talked about home field advantage in Mile High Stadium is a true home field advantage. You go from sea level to a mile high. It's hard to run. It's hard to breathe. You potentially could get sick. Plus, it's Monday night. I think the Browns lose this game to the Denver Broncos Week 13 Monday Night Football. Week 14, back on the road. Fresh off of a beaten down of the Pittsburgh Steelers, fresh off of a Monday night loss, they go to Pittsburgh and take on the Pittsburgh Steelers yet again. I said I like the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. I said I think the Pittsburgh Steelers could potentially win the AFC North. I said the Pittsburgh Steelers could potentially make a nice little AFC championship run. And this is the part of the season where the Pittsburgh Steelers start to put it all together. They beat down the Cleveland Browns in a very embarrassing manner. Give us a Week 15 matchup where the Kansas City Chiefs travel to Cleveland and the Chiefs shit the bed in this game. They shit the bed versus the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns beat the Kansas City Chiefs Week 15. I actually had the Chiefs kind of losing a lot of these weird games, right? I have them losing to the Texans. I have them losing to the Browns and Steelers, right? I think the Chiefs on the road this season are kind of exposed on the road, right? Week 16, travel to Cincinnati, another Thursday night game. Remember what I said about 5 minutes ago? Thursday night game, always take the home team. Scratch that. Bengals are actually finally starting to play good football right now. The Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they're going to turn around on Thursday night football and beat the Cincinnati Bengals, sweeping the Bengals on the season. Give us a Week 17 matchup. If this game was in Florida versus the Miami Dolphins, I would take the Miami Dolphins 9 times out of 10 and twice on Sunday. But it's cold. It's January, Week 17 in Cleveland. Give me the Cleveland Browns, giving 3 wins in a row over the Chiefs, Bengals, and the Dolphins. Give us an 8-team matchup, potentially for the AFC North title. Cleveland Browns versus the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens win this Week 18 game. Bengals win this Week 18 game, giving me the Cleveland Browns with 11-6 record on the season. I think they finished 11-6. Let me know what you guys think. 11-6, too high, too low, just about right. Disclaimer, I had Deshaun Watson playing all 17 games. This was made back in June, well before we saw the injury on Monday. Let me know what you guys think. Until then, we out.